Alan Cutler have a no-filter comment? Hit the text line, 859-381-1313, 859-381-1313.
Houchins Insurance Group is proud to partner with Auto Owners Insurance, a company that provides opportunity for independent agents to make insurance simple for their clients, offering risk management services that range from a renter's policy for your college student to home and auto coverage for your entire family. Houchins Insurance Group assures you that nobody works harder to keep you protected from life's uncertainties. Reach out to AJ Boss or Zach Bennett at 859-263-2771 to see if Auto Owners Insurance makes sense for you.
Hey, I'm Dale Wise. I've just recently retired. I know that the electronics, if you don't keep up with it, it can get away from you and get real confusing. Republic Bank's app, I use their app, and it is so easy to use. I log in with my fingerprint, so it's super easy. I don't have to remember 50 million different passwords and all that stuff. And it lays it out just real nice.
That's Dale's story. Now let's get to work on yours. Republic Bank. Time to thrive. Member FDIC. Data rates may apply.
Hi, this is Alan Cutler for my friends at Quantrell Cadillac. There's something unmistakable the moment you step into a Cadillac. The soft glow of the dashboard, the quiet power waiting beneath your foot. Every detail is designed to move you before you ever move. On the road, it's smooth, responsive, effortless. Advanced technology surrounds you. Performance responds instantly, and the world outside fades away. This isn't just driving, it's arrival. At Quantrell Cadillac, that experience is closer than you think, with exceptional offers including 2.9 APR for 60 months on select models. Luxury has never felt more attainable. Visit QuantrellCadillac.com. See dealer for complete terms.
Baby, it's cold outside.
Uncle Rick, warm yourself up with a hot coffee or cappuccino at Clark's Pub and Shop.
Kappa what?
Cappuccino. And while you're there, be sure to pick up some of our in-store specials. We have 5-hour energy shots, Bloom energy drinks, and Blue Diamond almonds. Each buy 2, get 1 free.
I feel warmer already. Clark's Pub and Shop. Return, refresh, refuel.
Back to No Filter Radio with Alan Cutler. Podcasts on Apple, Spotify, and Google, Monday through Friday.
Here's the snap, and this time they're just going to go down to the ground, and that will do it. And the rags to riches story for Indiana football comes to conclusion, and they are the national champions of 2026. What a football team! What a football team!
That is the voice of Don Fisher, who back in the day in the 80s I met. And when Kentucky and Indiana used to play all the time, we used to have some, nice conversations. One of the longest tenure play-by-play men and a really good dude, just a really good guy. And I'm happy for him because he has suffered calling a million Indiana games. And I bet many of you saw the picture from the first game. Now, you would think the first game, nobody obviously knew this was going to happen, but the first game was Signetti, there'd be a crowd to welcome and that kind of stuff. There was nobody in the damn stands. Nobody. Nobody. So it's unbelievable, as everyone knows. And now, a man who's unbelievable in his own mind, especially when he looks in the mirror, from KSR, does a hell of a job covering football. My dear friend, maybe I'm abusing the word dear, Nick Roush. Hello, Nick. How are you?
I'm okay, Alan. I'm a little sad today, though. It's college football season has ended. We had 4 divisional round games. Now, there's only 3 football games left, and it's cold outside. And it feels like the day after Christmas, right? You have all this build up, this anticipation, all sorts of excitement. Now it's just cold outside, and there's no more football. There's a little bit more, but not a whole lot. I'm sad.
Oh, okay. I wasn't expecting that. So, Mr. Sadness, what was the best thing you heard from Will Stein yesterday in his long press conference? And also, I want your overall thought of how Will handled the press conference.
This is a very dumb media thing, Alan, but much easier to transcribe than Mark Stoops, right? Like when he talks, the sentences just kind of flow out.
That it's true.
So like there's not a bunch of likes and will do's, and the newness of it all is it's just going to be hard it's a big transition, right? And I think it's refreshing. It's not so different than when Mark Pope took over for John Calipari. We had just heard the same voice for so long. To get a new voice, it's exciting. It's exciting in a lot of regards. I think in the intro press conference you have to, right, like it's kind of a pep rally, and he's so new on the job, he can't be really definitive about the way he says things, and he's trying to kind of tread lightly in some topics. He was not treading lightly yesterday because the hay is mostly in the barn, right? They're done adding transfer portal players. The roster, while there might be a couple more high school players added next month, is mostly finished. But it's just so great to hear like some excitement, some newness. You came in with the Indiana call, and he talked about that was a heck of a football team. And teams like Indiana, the way they turned it around, it gives everybody hope. And Will Stein has the vision and the organizational structure to create a drastic turnaround. Is he going to be Kurt Signetti in Indiana? I'm not going to say that, but there is okay, well, this is new, this is different. It's almost the polar opposite of the way the last group operated, and it gives you hope that there can be drastic change. And I think that's just the biggest takeaway of all this. This is different, this is exciting, this is a shot in the arm the program desperately needed.
Yeah, and I think he does bring hope, which is a beautiful thing, and with some legitimate reasons. You talk about he's a quarterback whisperer, and he brought in his offensive coordinator, who's a quarterback whisperer. And if Biondo is as good of a general manager as he says, best in the country, a lot of Pope in him, right? Working for the best administration, has the best general manager. Here's I'm not trying to chill you out. I'm excited that he's here.
Yeah.
Okay, but okay. He starts off the press conference talking about strength coaches and nutrition and stuff like that. Sounded like Mark Stoops. There's a lot of things if you really want, because he's a football coach as well.
Right.
So I'm not being negative, I promise you. But through that, there's a number of things that if the voice was different, and it would have been a little tougher to transcribe, as you said, there's a lot of things that really were the same as Stoops. But the difference is, and I'm not taking a shot at Stoops, and I'm really careful about that because there's no revisionist history. The guy did a great job until it fell apart. I mean, that's just the way it is, and both need to be applauded, and both is the way it is. He is more in tuned to NIL. He is more in tuned to players' needs. He is more in tuned to the shuttling that goes on. And I'll go one step further. And you know what? Good luck to Vince in Louisville. I'm not trying to be negative, but Vince is old school. Okay. And it's worked for him. But this is a staff of a lot of young school. And even the defensive coordinator, who is older compared to some of these young guys, I mean, he gets it. And so what you have is like kind of a new age staff, which I like a lot. You know what the thing I like more than anything else, and I want to throw this at you? This sounds silly, but I think you know me well enough. I'm into little things. Little things often tell you a lot about the particular person. That he didn't think it was proper on his first day on the job to cut everybody who had signed with Stoops. I like that a little. No, I like that a ton. And he basically said, you all can stay. Okay. And if you don't want to stay, that's fine. That's fine. And not everybody stayed. You probably have the number, and that's fine if you got it. If you don't, that's fine. But he's also saying, one, Stoops didn't bring in dummies. That's part of it. And two, even though he might not have recruited all of them, because let's be real, they're looking at times for different things. He goes, I accept you will be part of the process. And it's a little thing, but I thought that was pretty classy. What say you?
I think he was taking a shot at Bobby Petrino too, which made me like it even more because he said, I've been a part of some other staffs where they did that, and I thought that was asinine. And I think he wanted to use a different word, but he settled on asinine. If you recall, Mr. Cutler, I believe this was Will Stein's, he was a holdover when Petrino took over for Charlie. I don't know. I forget who he took over for, but he was a holdover. And if you remember, there was a guy that Petrino cut. He went to Wake Forest, and then ran for like 200 yards and beat Louisville a couple years later. So I like that part of it. But to get back to the
No. Hang on a second. Let me give you credit because I didn't put two and two together with that. Oh, that's really good. So, when you're affected personally like that, it will affect you later in life, like Mike Brown, the owner of the Bengals, because he has been affected to this day about his father 1,000 years ago getting fired by the Cleveland Browns. It has changed how he doesn't fire coaches. So your life experiences move on to other things. Nick, I got to tell you, that was astute. That's really good stuff. Now, please continue.
Well, and the other point of it is, it was only like 13 guys, and some of them are more of the higher ranked guys in the class. But it's, hey, we're gonna give you a chance to go prove it, right? And that is, as you say, there's a lot of newness where you're talking about general manager and a front office, but he said football is a tough game played by really tough men, and this spotlight's going to be really bright. How do they handle that? Like there is some things in this game, as much as it changes, a lot of it comes back to just blocking and tackling, and the sort of, it's like, we're going to be a tough football team. We're going to be accountable. We're going to show up for work. Like that's the kind of stuff that is evergreen, right? But how they do it is going to look different. They have 4 offensive line coaches now. He said ideally we have 5.
He's gonna bring in a 5th guy, a young guy that's a GA. And so he wants 5. That was second on my list, which I was very impressed with. 5 for 20 coaches, and I'm going to guess the GA will work with the red shirts and walk-ons, because there will be walk-ons, and then move it up from there. And I think it's a really good idea because as the coaches get together, they will all be on the same page with technique. So now Big Brother is watching you with your technique, and I think it's a very smart move in today's world of football.
I mean, the logic just makes sense, Alan. There's 5 guys on the offensive line. You're going to have one coach looking at all 5 guys and know everything. Like, no. It helps to have more eyeballs in the room to make sure that everybody's on the same page. One might argue that, wait, are there too many cooks in the kitchen here? But what I like, Alan, is that he has a lot of guys on this coaching staff who were assistant position coaches, right? They were the guys working at Oregon and Ohio State and Texas A&M who weren't necessarily the main guys, but were cutting their teeth, right, to try to climb up a level. They're young guys who were recently in the game. As he mentioned, Tony Washington Jr., he had the touchdown in the Rose Bowl where Jameis Winston had the crazy fumble back in 2013. But this other guy from Oregon they brought in, I mean, I think he was wearing football equipment 2 years ago. He spent a year or two on the sidelines helping coach the Oregon offensive line. Now he's coming to Kentucky to help these guys. I like taking a chance on these younger guys who really have something to prove and can be relatable and connect with the younger players. So it's exciting if you do the little things the right way. What's the saying, Alan? How you do anything is how you do everything. And there's a lot going on. There's a lot of getting to know each other that's got to happen over the next few months. But they do seem to be taking a step in the right direction.
Yeah, I agree with that. And I'm excited to see. I'm very excited to see. Plus, he's got a sense of humor. He likes to pick on his height. He did that when the meet and greet world in here, that somebody says something about you got tall corners or safeties, whatever that was. Yeah, I don't want any Will Steins. Which I thought is pretty good. It shows you, his sense of humor when it comes to that. And so you kind of like that. I just think he has his doctorate degree on football today. And I think there are some older coaches who will adjust, and there's some older coaches who don't want to adjust. And there are some really good older coaches who are remaining coaches who will not adjust, and they're going to slip a little bit. And so what he's done with his bias, which is what he's supposed to do in the hiring, he went for people that relate to kids. He went for people that understand the NIL. Let me throw this at you. Mark Cuban, you've heard of him? He's got a couple dollars.
Yeah, he's got a few.
Yeah. So, he, whatever it was, wrote a much bigger check out to Indiana this year. Went to Indiana, I think, as everybody knows. And he wrote a much bigger check because they were successful last year, but apparently did really well the year before. Anyway, the point is this. I'm watching the interview, and he made a point of saying we didn't always go after the highest paid player. We went after people in the system. By the same token, too, as everybody knows, Nike money with Oregon, they have so much more money than Oregon State. I've driven by the Oregon State football field many times. The difference between Oregon State has and Oregon, it's like two different worlds with them. And it really stuck in my cranium when Will was first introduced that we don't always spend the most money on a kid at Oregon. He was saying basically we have the money, but we don't always become the top bidders. And I just liked it when he said it. And I'm going, I hope it's not BS. And when Cubitt said it, I liked it. And I didn't think it was BS. And so I think that's interesting, what he's pushing is relationships, because Ty Bryant could have left not only this year, he could have left last year for bigger, more successful programs for more money. I talked about it last year. It's true this year. And so it's not always about the money. And so if they're getting some kids that it's not always about the money, then I think that's important. And if you're not, as he said, if money's the first thing coming out of the kid's mouth, he's probably not right for you. That's not a little thing to me. That's a big thing. What say you?
We are not privy to all of these backroom conversations, these negotiations, these recruitments. But if you just paid attention during the transfer portal, it's clear that he's practicing what he preaches publicly, because there were guys that it felt like the hay was in the barn, but then a couple days go by and nothing happens, right? So from what I understand, based on the last coaching staff and versus this coaching staff, the biggest difference in roster building is that I think Stoops thought it was all about the money for a lot of these guys because they weren't as malleable in these negotiations.
Oh, well, the sports writer saying malleable. I got to write this time code down. 7 on the 20th of January. Mr. Malleable, please continue.
Well, essentially, I think in a lot of these cases in the past, they were worried about guys getting away. So when they drove a hard bargain and said, actually, we want more than what you're offering, they would just pay it to them, right? Well, if that happens with 10 guys, and you're paying 10% more, you're going to start losing, that eats into the budget, right? And you're going to be able to get fewer and fewer players. I think what we saw during the portal, there was a couple guys. CJ Baxter is the one in particular for me, right? Where he visits Kentucky and it seems like things are done, but they're trying to squeeze more money out of Kentucky. Kentucky draws a hard line in the sand. He schedules a visit to Colorado to try to get some more leverage. That doesn't happen. He ends up going to Indiana. Everybody thinks like, all right, well, now he's going to end up transferring to Indiana. That doesn't happen. And then he comes back to Kentucky. They're able to meet in the middle. And that's where, to your original point, like Lance Hurd was the guy that I mentioned earlier or during the press conference with Stein. He's going to be the highest paid guy on Kentucky's roster, but he was going to be one of the highest paid guys wherever he went, right? So why Kentucky? Well, part of it's the fit. You're still in the SEC, but also, hey, look, we have this proven track record at Oregon. We're in a system that is unlike Tennessee's, where Tennessee's, they're gimmicky, right? What you're going to run here at Kentucky is what they're going to want you to run in the NFL. We're going to get you moving. We're going to get you ready to be a first-round draft pick. So, yes, the money is involved, and they have to kind of go about it. They're going about it differently than how Mark Stoops went about it. But I do think that what Stein is saying is true. That's just one piece of the puzzle when it comes to getting players from the transfer portal.
I agree. It's a huge piece of the puzzle. Look, we don't know. So I'm just making an obvious guess. Two things throwing at you. One, did Kentucky lose a lot of players because they didn't have enough money? And two, and everybody loses players for more money, just about it. And so let's keep that in perspective. But then there's a sliding scale. Do you lose a lot of players or not? Two, without knowing all the wherewithals, and I don't know who does, of JMI and how to put this together, it seems pretty obvious to me, unless somebody can tell me otherwise, that common sense tells you that JMI has not hindered at all the football program. And obviously, they had to help. You're bringing this many guys this quickly with some serious competition that they couldn't they couldn't have been bad, and they had a help from the outside looking in. Do you see it the same way? If not, I'm very curious. What say you, KSR's Nick Roush?
Yeah, I am one of those that you can't you you do need to question when it's bad, but you also get credit when it's good, and that's it. It feels like what Kentucky's financial structure is. I don't know how involved JMI is versus rev share dollars that ESPN is paying to Kentucky that they're able to allocate. But whatever it is, it's pretty darn good. Because when you compare the hits versus the misses, I mean, Kentucky got 3 offensive linemen ranked in the top 125. A year ago, when they had to get offensive linemen to get 5 new starters, they were getting all Conference USA and all MAC players. You know, those guys ended up being pretty good. They've got all SEC and all Big 12 players now, right? 3 of the top 125 players in the transfer portal are at Kentucky, and they're offensive linemen. They got guys there. They got dudes. Kenny Minchie, Nebraska, they were ready to pony up for him. Well, Kentucky had the dollars to be able to make it happen too. That's not to say that they didn't miss on guys. I think DeAndre Moore is clearly the big one. If you're going to have some questions about what this roster looks like moving forward, it's at wide receiver and probably at cornerback. But from just a financial standpoint, there's reasons why fans are going to worry. I mean, you're Kentucky football. You have to share money with Kentucky basketball. You want to make sure that your program has enough dollars to compete in the SEC. I think this transfer portal, it was going to tell us a lot about where the Cats stand. And no, it's clear. They have the money to make it happen. They have the money to get the right roster, also the right coaches. And, when you marry them both together, you can build a pretty darn good roster. And I think they've got a solid one, but it's going to be you never know until you see it. And you got to be a doubting Thomas to a certain degree, Mr. Cutler.
Okay, that's cool. Now, let me throw this at you. I wouldn't have asked the question. I can't remember who asked it, and I'm not ripping the person who asked it. I'm just not going to.
Mm-hmm.
Questions that have been asked, do I rip the person asking the question? Yes. Do I sometimes compliment? Yes. So whoever it was who asked the question, was this staff too young? I was a little surprised. Was that you?
Oh, that was me. Yeah.
This wasn't set up that way. I really didn't. You know me well enough, Nick. If it was you, I'd have started this part of the conversation differently. You know me.
No. Yeah. I just go on, Alan. No offense taken here.
No. There's no offense either way. So Reggie Hansen, dear friend, played a little basketball for Kentucky, brags that he dunked on Shaq, which I used to tease him because I slowed the video down. Shaq's head was turned when he dunked, but the picture that he used, it looked like Shaq was looking at, I was there also. So we go up and back, and I love Reggie. I really do. But he ripped you for asking the question. And so I actually like the answer. And sometimes, and Reggie knows this, but sometimes it's okay to have friction. And since you asked it, I was going to say this anyway. It was done in a professional manner. So I'm kind of funny about asking questions. I'm different from ball players. You should be able to ask anything with the right tone of voice. Coaches are smart. If you have a bad tone of voice, they can smell it. They can pick it out.
Oh, yeah.
Really quickly. They're not stupid. They're not. And sometimes if a coach doesn't like a question, but it's a legitimate question, too bad. Sometimes there's friction between coaches and players and stuff like that. That's kind of all part of it. I like this answer. What made you ask the question? And then what did you derive from his answer? Because you pushed him. And I don't think he liked it. And matter of fact, he kind of paused, sort of hesitated, got his stuff together, and then thought he gave you a very good answer. So now, Nick, I'm going to shut my mic off because I don't want to interrupt you. Make me and go ahead. Go ahead.
Well,
for it.
The way I phrase it too is just, what would you tell people who are skeptical that all these young guys can get it done, right? And the answer, because this is a significant storyline. We went from a coaching staff with, I think, 2 guys under 40 to a coaching staff. I haven't crunched the numbers yet. I'm working on that now. I want to say like 75% of it are under 35 or under 40, right? Like, it is a very young staff. I am now dealing with my contemporaries rather than an older generation. So it's different. And the answer was the answer I was looking for. And it's the correct answer. I have the quote right here. Experience is all relative. What we're doing now in college football is not the same as what we were doing 20 years ago. It's just not. Everything's changing. Recruiting's changed. The portal's changed. It's about adaptability. And these guys show me that they're the best people for these jobs. They relate to players. They connect with players. He went on and on. But I think the overall point is, and it's the correct one, is that, like, I think the experience at the big time successful programs, whether it's limited or not, is more valuable than decades long of experience. He did the right thing, and he said it as much too, that he wanted to have a veteran calling his defense. I think that's a great counterbalance. But after that, just get the guys who are good for the job, and that's where they stand. I think it is. For me, that's just a storyline that I think needs to be discussed. And I don't necessarily think it's a bad one. But I'm glad that he did kind of push back a little bit. Because I just mentioned the one guy, but Cutter Leftwich, that guy was playing college football in 2019, I want to say. And he's going to be Kentucky's offensive line coach. Like, that's, you're kind of taking a chance on some guys, but there's a reason to believe that it'll all work. The same applies to why Mitch hired Will Stein, The other thing, too, just to add to this nugget, I want to say that after Sean McDermott got fired, that we are down to 5 coaches in the NFL who had their jobs before COVID, right? COVID doesn't seem that long ago, but it's 6 years ago, and all these guys are getting fired. I think going into this year, 3 of the 5 longest tenured coaches in college football have lost their jobs: Stoops, Gundy, and Whittingham. Whittingham left for Michigan, but retired, whatever. But point being, what used to be like experience and that used to be the beacon of stability. That's not necessarily a strength now. Being somewhere for a long time isn't necessarily a good thing. You need newness. You need people who are hungry, who are willing to be sharks in the portal, who are willing to do things differently in this new day and age in college football.
It's a good answer. And he made a point when answering your question, Nick Roush, about the veteran DC, which I thought was also smart, that he's a hell of a recruiter.
Yeah.
If there's a theme that I picked up, but you've done a bigger deep dive on the assistants than I have. And I think you're way ahead of me, and that's cool from what you're doing. I'm more superficial, to be honest.
That's fair. Yeah.
I would call you a deep dive person.
I'm in the weeds.
Yeah, you're in the weeds. It hurts. I'm paying you a compliment. I'm in pain right now. So is it your humble opinion, seriously, Nick Roush of KSR, that the guys he brought in, as he must have had a checklist. Hey, can you do this? Can you do this? Can you do this? Can you do this? One of those checklists has to be for any coach recruiting. And is it your opinion that all the guys he brought in are really, really good recruiters? Is that your opinion?
When you're hiring guys or when you're getting people from the portal, there are no perfect resumes, right? You're able to get them for a reason. There's something you can ding them on. Recruiting is not one of them for pretty much any of these hires. I don't like that all is a strength for the wide receivers coach. Goes by Eastside Joe. He's from Houston. He has a lot of connections in the state of Texas. Joe Sloan, you could say, man, look what happened at LSU last year. His play calling didn't go well, but you know what he has done well? He's recruited well. Same thing for Jay Bateman. Some Texas A&M fans didn't really like him, but you know what? They liked all the recruits he brought in. Will Stein has built a staff that can acquire talent, and you need that. You need guys who can maybe punch above their weight in recruiting when you're at a place like Kentucky.
I didn't think LSU had a great quarterback like they had the year before, and I think that has something to do with it. Now, you can blame Sloan for not bringing a better quarterback, and I know they went with Nussbaum and whatever. I've never liked him, and I know he got hurt and stuff like that. I've never been a fan. By the way, his dad was in Idaho when I was in Idaho 1,000 years ago. I just think he didn't progress like Bo Nix progressed. That's
I would have loved to have seen you on the beat in Idaho.
I never went to Idaho to cover games. I did cover games at Boise State. Covered a ton of games at Boise State because, as a matter of fact, the
field still blue?
Yeah, it was blue. got married, we jogged by the stadium. That was a morning thing for me to do. Really. It's 12:59. I'm 3 minutes late. The best thing about football you didn't share with me, Nick, you do a hell of a job, is
the best thing about football,
from Stein.
He is doing things differently, and he has built a team that can be physical in the trenches. Because as much newness and everything is exciting, offensive line play, defensive line play, this is a trench game. This is a game of physicality. This team is still going to have that. Things are changing, but that remains the same.
Scale of 1 to 10. What's your number for Will Stein being the head coach at the University of Kentucky?
I think everything has been as good, if not better, than expected so far. So give me an 8.
An 8. Okay. That's pretty cool. And I'm sorry you have nothing to do now. The football's about over. I'm so sorry, Nick.
I'm sad, but you know what? Will Stein gave me a lot to work with yesterday. So he's keeping me busy. And now, hell, they're out recruiting. They're going to be out on the recruiting trail. So there's plenty to still stay dug into the weeds, as we say.
Real quick, tell me about the tight end real quick. At Boyle County, how much you like him. You had Kentucky there, Louisville there, that kind of thing. I have Justin Haddock.
The kid is a crazy athlete. We saw him at a camp one summer, and he was beating power conference cornerbacks as a tight end. His Seneca driver is a freak. He is an outstanding athlete. It's going to be a fun summer with the recruiting battles between Vince Marrow and this Kentucky staff.
Did he grow up a Kentucky boy, wanting to play for Kentucky, or no?
Yeah, I'm not quite sure. We'll just say he did, right? Well,
no,
why not?
I'll do that. I will ask Justin Haddocks in a half hour. He will give me.
There you go.
Okay. Hey, Nick, as always, I appreciate you. Want to plug something?
Just go hang out with us. We Justin Rowland and Jeff Drummond, they came over to. So we had the big merger, right? Cats Illustrated, KSR, we're all in one. So there's a lot of great stuff on KSR Plus now. Getting a lot of bang for your buck if you join us over there. So appreciate y'all hanging out with us. It was a wild portal ride, but still, as sad as I am, there's still plenty to dig into with this Kentucky football program.
Knowing you will find plenty because that's who you are. Appreciate you, dude. You do a hell of a job. Thanks for joining me, man.
Always happy to do it, Alan.
Thanks, Nick. He's really good. I didn't know he asked the question. I really didn't, Jimmy. Besides, you know me, I would have phrased it differently, right?
Yeah. See, when you started asking that, because I recognized his voice from the press conference. When you started that, I thought maybe you did know going into the question.
It'd been better if I knew. I'm just, being honest. And plus, Nick knows me well enough to know I wasn't going to BS him. And he had kind of like, really, Cutler, you didn't realize I asked the question. He's really good. He's a really good dude. Terry Page. Wow. The pregnant pauses, it upsets me that she has any openings because it's better for her business, duh. And she is that good. And there's many people within the sound of my voice who could be getting help and they don't. And that's everybody's choice. But I kind of push it because I believe this from my heart. She's a spectacular licensed massage therapist. She's a healer. She's helped me with things that have nothing to do with the deep tissue massages that I get. She's a very special person. 859-373-0578. In Lexington, Thursday and Friday. In Butler, Kentucky, on Monday and Tuesday off Regency Road. Check her out. Trust me when I tell you, she's been unbelievable for me. 859-373-0578. Please use my name. Chris Chenault, who's playing hurt, coming up next. Alan Cutler, 1300 AM, 92.5 FM.
No Filter Radio with Alan Cutler, brought to you by Quantrell Auto Group. QuantrellForLife.com.
Hi, this is Alan Cutler. Have a no filter comment? Hit the text line, 859-381-1313. 859-381-1313. Hi, this is Alan Cutler from the depths of Mammoth Cave to the rugged cliffs of Red River Gorge to the muddy boots and long days in Daniel Boone National Forest and every back road that gets you there. Your adventures are built for Subaru with legendary, symmetrical, all-wheel drive, proven safety, and the durability Quantrell Subaru is known for. You can push farther, stay longer, and explore without hesitation. Right now, Zero, that's right, 0% APR financing on new 2025 Subaru Outback models through February 2nd, 2026. Built for Kentucky, ready for anywhere. Quantrell Subaru. Visit QuantrellSubaru.com. See dealer for details.
Hi, this is Patrick DiGiacomo, and this is why I would recommend Republic Bank. So, when the bank manager brought me over just to show me how their ITM works, he hit this button where an actual live person came on the screen, and she was so kind and helpful, and it just made me feel like, wow, I'm not dealing with just a machine, I'm dealing with somebody that's actually paying attention to what I'm doing, and it made me feel really good.
And that's how Republic Bank helps their customers go from living to thriving. Learn more at republicbank.com. Member FDIC.
Houchins Insurance Group is proud to partner with Auto Owners Insurance, a company that provides opportunity for independent agents to make insurance simple for their clients, offering risk management services that range from a renter's policy for your college student to home and auto coverage for your entire family. Houchins Insurance Group assures you that nobody works harder to keep you protected from life's uncertainties. Reach out to AJ Boss or Zach Bennett at 859-263-2771 to see if Auto Owners Insurance makes sense for you.
W223CV Lexington.
ESPN Sports Radio 1300 and 92.5, WLXG Lexington, and LM Communications Broadcasting Station. The only no-filter sports show in Kentucky. It's the Alan Cutler Show with award-winning TV sportscaster Alan Cutler.
Yeah, I won't hang up until you tell me you love me.
All right, I love you.
Ladies and gentlemen, you've heard it from Alan Cutler. He said he loves Sean Woods.
I feel the same. I've always thought you're absolutely the best and always enjoyed being around you. And
listen to Alan Cutler, folks. It's a pleasure for me and honor to be on here with such a legend.
Everything you said was absolutely 100% correct.
Man, is this the great Alan Cutler? Is this the infamous Alan Cutler?
Of all the broadcast television people that I've encountered, you are among the absolute elite.
Cut to the chase has a 5-length lead past the 16th pole. Cut to the chase. Victor Espinoza to win it.
Continue doing what you're doing. You're really good at it.
Be nice, America. Let's have a great day.
Hello, Mark. Mr. Pope, 1996.
Oh, my gosh.
What?
Hey, let's give it up right here. This is my guy. Yes. I'm so happy to see you.
Hey, gratitude is a skill, guys. But if you practice, it will give you a joyful life regardless of your circumstances.
Got to get to the 8. He's going to take off and run. Mendoza weaves his way first and goal. Diving for the end zone. Touchdown! That's where he won the Heisman Trophy.
No Filter Radio with Alan Cutler, brought to you by Quantrell Auto Group. QuantrellForLife.com.
Welcome back. Alan Cutler, 1300 AM, 92.5 FM. Appreciate Nick Roush. We go from football to football and maybe a potpourri of different sports and different things. A little under the weather, but he plays hurt because he's a tough linebacker from Henry Clay and the number 2 all-time leading tackler in the history of the University of Kentucky and in the UK Athletics Hall of Fame. Chris Chenault. Hello, Chris. How are you, dude?
I can't trust a fart right now, so I'm under the weather. Gotta watch how you cough, too. Ain't going nowhere today. Woo. You ever been there? Woo, scared to cough? Woo.
Remind me never you how you feel.
Sure, you're right. Woo.
You know, you think I'd know better. So what do you think of the football game last night? I'm throwing a 2-part question at you. And 2, I happen to agree with Signetti, who says, look, I'm all for physical football. You were a really physical guy. But the hits, I thought, on Mendoza in the first half, there should have been flagrant fouls. I thought there was horrible refereeing. And when you don't call it, the other team's not stupid. They're talking among themselves. They ain't going to call them, so let's beat the crap out of them. And I really blame the officials. And I thought that really stunk, by the way. The wrong way to do it. I'm not trying to protect Mendoza, and I'm not, trying to play soft shoes with him or anything like that. But a couple of those hits were ridiculous. I mean, late. If it happens during the play, I might not like that a kid get hurt, but it's during the play. This was abusive. But here's the part that I really didn't like. All these big stars from Saban, whatever, at the halftime, they didn't talk about it, or did I miss it? It's like they were afraid to talk about it. When you have a coach of a national championship team who has the guts to complain like that, which often doesn't happen, most of those times those interviews are fluff, as you know. They're just BS. Now you have somebody saying something really strong, and you have this expensive panel, including Nick Saban, and not a damn word about it. I thought that was pretty chicken about it.
That blew my mind, and I think the best thing was it just shows you the composure Indiana has. That coach, he called it out at halftime. I thought the referee for that game, they said they're letting him play. They let him play a little bit too much. I thought they was trying to not get to go against Indiana because they had some calls that should have been called. But I was rooting for Indiana. I like Miami and stuff like that, but Indiana's closer to home, if you know what I mean. And I like that whole story of how they did all those seniors and stuff. And I didn't know he got most of his players from James Madison University.
Yeah, well, I'll say when he was a head coach there, he brought a whole double-figure amount of players over to, which showed a couple things. One, they had more money in Indiana, and two, they wanted to follow it. And, you know, I can't think of the kid's name, but the defensive player of the game was one of the JMU kids.
Mm-hmm.
And he was thanking on the podium that Cignetti took him, because ESPN did a great story a couple of weeks ago where they had so many of their players talking about they were 0 stars and 1 stars, and they were overlooked and stuff like that, and how they appreciated getting just picked for JMU.
Yes.
They're going to Indiana. And I don't know about you, I love it. I don't give a, you know me, I don't give a crap where you're from, what side of the railroad tracks. Anytime a young person is appreciative, I just become a fan. And you have young people in their 20s that are so appreciative that Cignetti spotted them and coached them. And they're saying thank you to him.
All that comes from he's stoic when you look at him. And the thing about it is, for those guys to follow him, he must practice what he preaches and walk the walk, like they said John 1 used to do. But the main thing with him is he looks like the type of guy you follow through a brick wall. And most of the time, a team takes on the character, the moral character of their head coach. If you love your coach, you're gonna die for him. Just like in your job, if you don't like your boss, you're not going all out. You got to have that passion for anything you want to do in life. He carries it, but he doesn't show too much emotion. I bet behind closed doors, he's giving out those quotes you probably want to put on somebody's billboard saying this is how you do it when you face adversity. Because he was pissed about the late hits, but he kept his cool. He just wanted America to see what's going on. And I think,
and he wasn't shy to mention it, as a lot of coaches would. By the way, I didn't like my boss for years, and it didn't stop me from working hard because it was my show, it was my pride, and the hell with him.
Yeah.
Attitude.
Most disgruntled people, they say, well, I don't like my boss. To me, it don't matter where I'm at. I'm going to be me. That's why I say when I go on vacation, as long as I got my family and friends with me, we could go to White Castles and have a party. It does not matter as long as you're with people who are on the same level, same mindset. Have fun. But when you're a young kid and you got somebody who lives right, talks what he says, high character guy, that's what we need right now. And those guys, a bunch of them have been playing ball for 4 or 5 years. They came together, and like you said, age and wisdom is something to be said right now about what goes for that quick shot of getting them ones and dones. It don't work out so good now.
On a scale of 1 to 10, how good was the national championship game as a football guy watching?
For me, it was about an 8. I like it watching them. The first game I saw that I thought was a 10. I think it was when Miami played Nebraska. I think it was in 83 or 84. They kept going in overtime. I think Rozier was the tailback.
That was one of the great games of all time.
And I watched it with my dad, and I just gotten into where I really love football. I was watching everything, and to watch that with my dad and have my friends over, and then Snellenberger giving the history from Kentucky, and I was like, oh man, this is what it's about. And I said, well, them guys are kind of bigger than me though. Right now, I was a freshman, but yeah, that when I fell in love with football, and that's the best game I've ever seen.
By the way, no disrespect to Jay Claiborne, but Schnellenberger should have been the coach. And I really believe had Schnellenberger become the coach, Kentucky would have elevated quickly to national top 20 status.
He took it there to Louisville. I think at that point in time, UK needed Claiborne for his strict rules and stuff. Snellenberger, he chomped on the cigar. He had that swagger. I mean, it's like 1A and 1B. Which one do you want to play with? With my personality, I'm sticking with Claiborne, but I wouldn't mind playing for Snellenberger.
Well, Claiborne's your guy, and Jerry did a great job. There's no question about it. But Claiborne only came in the picture when Schnellenberg was out of the picture. You know the
Correct.
story? Berger didn't become the coach?
No.
Because he wanted total control over his program.
And why shouldn't he? Was he proven that?
Yeah, he won national championships with Miami and was a first-team All-American here. And went to college with a guy named Cliff Hagan, who I respect at a Cliff. Cliff, All-American and in the Basketball Hall of Fame, and they went to school together. And Cliff wanted to keep some control because the truth was Cliff really didn't have much control over basketball.
Right,
basketball guy. He had a little control, but not as much as people think. Okay, so if you really don't have control over basketball and/or football, you're the AD. You know, he didn't put a lot of money into baseball.
Yeah, I met him a couple times.
No, I like Cliff a lot, actually, and I think because he was shy. As a matter of fact, I said this years ago, they should have brought Cliff back to teach Oscar how to shoot a hook shot. I mean, he could shoot a 15-foot hook shot from 15 feet either hand. There aren't 5 people in the history of the NBA had a better hook shot than Cliff Hagan did. I'm going on a tangent, but it never would have come to Jerry Claiborne had it worked out with Howard Schnellenberger. That I can absolutely tell you.
Okay.
Isn't it amazing how your life would have been different?
Oh, it's like a fork in the road, which way it would have went. But I know Snellenberger, he would look at people. I think Carwell Gardner left us was defensive end. Could have been all SEC. He goes to Louisville, and Snellenberger looks at him, season works out, takes him, and makes him a fullback. And he played fullback for 1 year. I think he got drafted second round by the Bills playing fullback, but he was a hell of a defensive player. Goodness. Him and his brother.
Yep, absolutely. I remember him. As I recall, Schnellenberger was desperate for a fullback.
Okay.
Guys get moved. You know, for example, there's no doubt in my mind that Cisco Bryant would have played in the NFL forever. And I've said this, Cisco said it back then, had they left him on defense.
Oh, we talking about his son or Cisco?
Oh, Cisco.
My Cisco?
Yeah.
No. Cisco, good. He's got a great son that's going to be in the NFL. Cisco.
No, the player.
The player.
He agreed with me. Had he stayed on defense, he'd have played in the NFL forever.
Yeah, if you asked me that too, I would too. But I hope Cisco's listening right now. Cisco, you ran like a 5 flat, man. How you going to think you're going to go pro? Check out that he's going to kill me. North Texas State, 1983 or 2. He breaks loose and gets caught at the 2-yard line. And I still bring that up there, and he just flips. He gives me the bird now, but I remember that because you know how locker rooms are.
Oh, yeah. Next time he's on.
They ate him up, but he was great hands. Now, Cisco was on my side from day one as a freshman. He saw my potential, but I still tease him about that.
He'd have knocked your block off. And even though he wasn't a fast, strong safety, if he played that, being smart, as you know, because you know where to go, makes up for that. There's a lot of guys in the NFL who play defense that are not as fast as people think, but they're smart and tough. And that first step, as you know, is so important.
Oh, yeah. If you watch film, you can predict what's going to happen in a safety. All he needs is about 4.7. Just kidding. I don't know how fast Cisco was. I just know it was a funny day watching it being a freshman, but he was so cool back then. And they call him coach now. Why would you call yourself coach if you got a cool name like Cisco? Please, I would have a diamond necklace running around my neck saying Cisco, and it would light up. That's the coolest name. And my favorite song would be Cisco Kid. I don't know Cisco Kid, I think it was.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, let's switch to Stein. On a scale of 1 to 10, you know, the honeymoon is on, and that's great, and it should be on. My gosh, if you don't have a honeymoon on now, there is no hope. But a honeymoon doesn't often translate to the field. But I'm cautiously excited about Will Stein and some of the things that he's doing. What does Chris Chenault say, Studley linebacker, about Will Stein and his hire and what you see he's doing so far?
He is basically blown my mind on how many people he's got to come to UK. I'm looking at that offensive line recruitment from the portal. I could say the big blue walls here. The quickest thing and where we're gonna find out about his coaching ability because he's recruiting his butt off. I like how they got the recruiting and running backs and such like that. How fast can they assimilate to his style in Kentucky? Because everybody's built different. You go in and think if they're going to come in the locker room and be leaders and get everybody to come together, because that's always going to be, even though it's a team and they're coming to help, you're going to have jealousy. Well, why you go after him and I'm doing that? They've got to have that lead on offense and defense. Brian's the one on defense, and he's got to take control. Look, we got a shot to be the next Indiana. We might not win the national championship, but they got a damn good shot of going to a bowl game.
I think a bowl game is very reasonable for next year.
Yeah.
Because they can't go to a bowl game. I would be extremely disappointed with all the players that he's brought in with the hype and that kind of thing. I'm not talking about, playing for the SEC championship, but if they can't go to a bowl game, something happened. Seriously, we're talking to a bowl game. We're not talking about 8 games, 9 games, 10 games, 11 games. We're talking about going to a bowl game. That's a low bar.
Yes.
Very low with the bowl game. I'll say this right now. If he doesn't go to a bowl game, he's had a bad year.
True. But like I said, I'm gonna give him 3 years to do what he did, do what he does, like I did Stoop. But I really like he's an offensive guy. He's not set on that one quarterback neither. He's done brought in some other guy, and I'm thinking he's gonna be one of those type of coaches, best player plays. I remember when I read track, you want to be on a relay team, you had to try out for it every week because sometimes you're fast and sometimes you're not.
No, the quarterback he brought in, who was going to Nebraska from Notre Dame, he's the quarterback. There's no competition. There is none, zero, kaput, no competition.
In no way we could have held on. None.
No.
Okay.
Zero, kaput, none. And that's why it was easy. And he said all the right things yesterday about, he's sorry it didn't work out with Cutler and that kind of stuff. He did not. I said this when I broke the story for weeks, and I've said this. He never pushed Cutler out. They made an offer to Cutler. But they didn't want Cutler to be the starting quarterback. It could have been competition. But I got to tell you, the kid from Notre Dame probably doesn't come. I don't know this. Probably doesn't come if Cutler's here. Because he's going to a place where he can start.
Okay, true that.
So why would he come to Kentucky if he's in a battle with Cutler Bowley and not knowing? Unless they told him you're going to start. You can't have it both ways. It either is or it isn't, just like it was disingenuous. As I said many times when Stoops said it was competition last year for Cutler to start, it was BS, and I said it many times because Cutler wasn't taking snaps with the ones.
Right.
Snap with his twos, it's not a competition. And I was a little disappointed that Stoops lied about that, and he did lie about it to try to build up Cutler, and he thinks people like me aren't smart enough to see through it. Neither here nor there. But no, the kid from Notre Dame does not come if he thinks he's in competition with Cutler Bowley. He does not. And the other thing that was pretty obvious, look at the money. Money talks, nobody walks.
Right.
Arizona is paying him more than twice, Arizona State, more than twice than he could have made here. It's a pretty simple deal. Okay. And I don't know what I don't know what the kid from Notre Dame is making. I do not know. I bet you it was more money than they were going to pay Cutler. I bet it was significantly more money than paying Cutler. And that talks. That talks. I mean, the kid who started quarterback last year at the beginning of the year, they paid him more money. So some of these things are not competition. It's all BS. It is. And do you think that agent would have had the kid from Notre Dame come here if he wasn't sure that he was a starting quarterback? No.
I agree with that. And the thing about it is, I'm trusting Stein on this. I kind of like Cutler. And but I'm going with him. He's from Oregon. He didn't do good in that one playoff game, but I think he's got the right enthusiasm. I know he's making his rounds in Kentucky at the high school games and stuff. I saw where they all ended up at, what was it, Danville versus Boyle County?
After you, the Boyle County coach is going to come on and talk about it.
Okay. Well, tell him he had a good season. Tell that kid to go and go to UK. He'll love it.
Well, and by the way, Justin has won 5 state championships in 6 years as a head coach there.
I know Boyle County's killing right now. And for them, it was Danville and all that. They still have that Central Kentucky Conference thing. That was way back when I was playing.
Long time ago.
Gosh, time went quick. Gosh.
Anything that Stein has said that you don't like?
No, because it's his path. If he wants to lead it, I'm not going to comment on somebody's choice. But because I'm always a firm believer, if I'm going to fail, it's going to be by my hand and my hand only. So if I say and do something, I can accept that failure if it's all me. But if I'm listening to somebody else on the outside saying, "Well, we need to do this," no, listen, nah, I have to do it my way.
I got you. No, I support Stein. It's his program. He's the quarterback guru. I'm not a quarterback guru.
Yeah, I'm gonna wait and see.
Yeah. Oh, I think not to wait to see would be an egregious mistake.
Right. And I'm going to give him all the support he needs. Like I said, we want a winning football team. Now that Indiana's doing good, the pressure is on. You know, Louisville's got a good basketball team, good football team. Indiana's doing the same. UK, we go back and forth. We have a good 3 or 4 years, and we're back at the bottom in one sport or another. It's time to stay even.
Basketball. I'm going to make you the guy, even though you're a football guy, that Pope is going to bring you in as a guy who loves Kentucky, as a, knows motivation, guys who understand sports and the psychology. Just because you didn't play basketball, that means nothing in a way because you understand the psychology of being an athlete. So you're now going to in front of the team. Actually, you'd be good to go in front of the football team. They should have you, they bring in people to talk. You would be good to talk in front of the team what it meant to be a Kentucky Wildcat and how much you love this program and stuff like that. I hope Stein brings in some old guys like you. Oh, I'm sorry. Did I say old guys like you? Oh, excuse me.
It don't matter. I have a Peter Pan complex. Go on. You can call me ugly, whatever. Don't bother me. Bounce right off.
Peter Pan. He took all my fun away. And so, if I have you talk in front of the basketball team, as you know, and the whole world knows, they have these awful starts and have these great comebacks in the second half. What would you do to tell this basketball team how they need to get their act together? Now, these are smart kids. I'm not ripping them for being stupid, I promise you, but it is what it is. They need to understand that basketball is a 40-minute game, not a 20-minute game. They've been told. They talk among themselves. These kids aren't stupid. So, Christian, I'm going to put you in front of the team right now, extemporaneous. And what would be your pitch to Mark Pope's Kentucky's Wildcats? And maybe one of Pope's people listening, because I think you're going to do a really good job, would say, that Christian Alt guy, we should have him come in.
Well, what I know is about the team, and I'm addressing the team now. This is Kentucky basketball. Started with Rupp, went all the way through Joe B. Hall, Sutton's, a couple other names we don't remember, and Tubby Smith and Rick Pitino. They all had that one thing. Kentucky is a top 5 choice and where recruits want to go, but everybody in the world is going to come at you like you're the number one team no matter what. And they've been beaten down by Kentucky so far for so long that people are waiting for the day they had a down year. And if it's going to be the down year, it's not going to happen on my watch. I want everybody to play the potential. We're not going to be soft. Everybody's going to give you the best game. It's playoff ball, 24/7 at Kentucky. If you can live up to that hype, you're going to be great in the pros in the NBA. But the main thing about it, if you can't contribute and be unselfish and pass the ball, please. I mean, half the time everybody's looking for numbers and shooting a shot and leaving their hand up there. Pass that ball. Easy shot always makes easy wins. And the thing about it is, quit reading your press clippings. And if you are going to the NBA next year, they're going to look down on you if you don't do some noise here in the college level where the competition is not as great.
Yeah, so I think. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Go ahead. No, but I'm basically get your act together if you want to be Kentucky Wildcat because the best 5 will play.
I think always gone from supposedly being a draft choice to not being a draft choice to now becoming a potential second-round draft choice because his game is getting much better again. He's not a scorer, but he's playing much, much, much better. And I don't know if he's ever going to be a shooter. He's shooting like 37% from downtown, so it's actually better than I think some people think. But he has become a leader, and I think he has struggled becoming a leader, even though he wants to be a leader and says it's his time to be a leader. Sometimes, as you know, and last answer, then I got to go, Chris. Sometimes people who know it's their time to lead, who want to lead, are still uncomfortable when they start leading. You understand what I'm saying, of course.
That is true. I thought Owe played a lot better last year. He had that drive, and they had the point guard going to him, and it was like they coming in and they believed the hype what Kentucky was. Our fans are great, but thing about this, you got to prove it wasn't a fluke and just play hard and take on the mantle of being, look, I know what it takes to win. Follow me and I will lead you. The thing about it is I still think we're too soft. South Season Conference is a man's sport. So I think he's waking up on that. What he did against the 10, don't run your mouth. Just point at the scoreboard because that was a good game, physical game towards the end.
Yep. It's Tennessee. It was physical. Hey, whatever you're doing, get healthy. I appreciate you. May you trust everything that you need to trust. We'll leave it at that.
Okay. I ain't trusting my farts, though, but we're good. Hey, America, let's be happy. Aliens come in November. I see you.
Have a good day. Jimmy, he got me at the end. Look at that smile by Chris. Look at that smile.
Ooh. Oh, Lord, I'm lightheaded. Good Lord. Let me get out of here.
All right, man. Oh. You know that old country song, Gotcha, whatever it is, right?
He got you.
Yeah. Is Justin in the hopper? We're going to take a break anyway.
Not yet.
Okay, I will text him Justin Haddix, who's got this great tight end, Seneca driver who is playing some basketball, and Kentucky and Louisville and everybody in the world wants him. Nick Rouse says that he saw him in a camp that he was beating cornerbacks. That is a huge wow. And a huge get if Stein can get him. I can tell you this. Check out Blue Lotus Health. Ramon Carriega has helped me with my blood pressure, which is a problem because of something I ate, that there was a recall, and I need some help with it. And he worked on it yesterday, and he's going to work on it today. And it's been amazing how much that man has been able to help me. Acupuncture, now also providing a licensed massage therapist, acupuncture, here in Lexington on Versailles Road, Blue Lotus Health. Please use my name. Low energy, confusion, headache, dizziness, seizure, breech infertility, autoimmune, metabolism issues, sciatica, foot pain, hand pain, arm, neck and shoulder, low back, pain in general, all kinds of things. He's helping my liver and kidneys and stuff like that. Seriously, as you get older, you need to have an understanding that things are flowing properly. He's been great for me. Please check him out. Please use my name, Blue Lotus Health, acupuncture, 859-533-0914. Alan Cutler, 1300 AM, 92.5 FM.
No Filter Radio with Alan Cutler, brought to you by Quantrell Auto Group. QuantrellForLife.com.
Hi, this is Alan Cutler. Have a no filter comment? Hit the text line, 859-381-1313. 859-381-1313.
Houchins Insurance Group is proud to partner with Auto Owners Insurance, a company that provides opportunity for independent agents to make insurance simple for their clients, offering risk management services that range from a renter's policy for your college student to home and auto coverage for your entire family. Houchins Insurance Group assures you that nobody works harder to keep you protected from life's uncertainties.
Reach out to AJ Boss.
C60, the Volvo. We love it. Best car we've ever had. Dedicated customer service. Helped us big time with financing. A wonderful dealership, the Quantrell Auto Group. They've been terrific for us for well over a decade. I trust the Quantrell Auto Group.
baby, it's cold outside.
Uncle Rick, warm yourself up with a hot coffee or cappuccino at Clark's Cup and Shop.
Kappa what?
Cappuccino. And while you're there, be sure to pick up some of our in-store specials. We have 5-hour energy shots, Bloom energy drinks, and Blue Diamond almonds. Each buy 2, get 1 free.
I feel warmer already. Clark's Puppet Shop. Return, refresh, refill.
Back to No Filter Radio with Alan Cutler. Podcasts on Apple, Spotify, and Google, Monday through Friday.
1300 AM, 92.5 FM. You know, Ball County's in a slump. In 2025, in 2024, they lost a game. Now, they had a good season in 23 when they were undefeated. That was good. But they slumped in 2022. They lost 2 games. In 2021, they lost a game. Now, in 2020, Justin Haddock earned his keep because they were undefeated. 11-0, 14-1, 13-2, 15-0, 12-1, 14-1. You know, have you won enough to have job security, Justin Haddock?
I don't know. There's not enough job security. I'll tell you that in any of it. You just gotta win.
You're only 79-5. I hope the pressure's not on for your job.
Well, I said pressure's every day. You know, that's something I put way more pressure on myself and than I do anybody else worrying about them having to do it. That's kind of been my thing. Anytime we're out there, we want to be prepared and have a chance to win. And in that, been very blessed.
5 state championships in 6 years. You've done a great job since you become a high school coach. You was a hell of a quarterback back in the day. But I wanted to ask you about Seneca Driver. Is he the best tight end in the country? And what happens when a school like yours all of a sudden has all these football coaches from Kentucky and Louisville, and I bet you've had calls from 50 high school coaches, college coaches, to want to see you, young man? How crazy has it been for you, whether it's, him, but you got other kids who end up going playing college football also, taking all these phone calls and Zoom calls and this, that, and the other? How nuts is it?
It's been good. I said, first, on your number one, I think there's no doubt in the world that Seneca Driver is the top tight end in the country, and he's a top 10 player in the country, in my opinion, of what he does. A lot of people see him as just a tight end, but he also started outside linebacker for us. He had 5 interceptions, returned 2 of them for touchdowns, just made some unbelievable plays. He's just a great athlete as far as doing that, and he's a very he's a hardworking young man. He's the youngest of 3 brothers, so he's had to come up with some other good athletes. Both those guys played linebacker. Azarius Roller played. I actually coached against him when I was at Corbin and he was at Bull. Started linebackers as a sophomore, and then his other brother, Brock Driver, will be a redshirt freshman at EKU this year as a linebacker. And then what Seneca brings to the table is just his competitiveness that he brings, and that's in anything that he does. He's a competitor, which is what people want. We've had I think he's got over 40 offers. Notre Dame's in town today. They're coming to watch a game. Georgia came in. We had Cincinnati and Texas A&M. Everybody, the who's who of college football have been here and visited us last spring in this, but that's just he brings it every day. They come watch a workout. It's just an everyday thing for what we do, and he doesn't really like all that attention. He don't talk about how many offers I got or how many of this. He just shows up and goes to work every day, which is a joy being a head coach, and when your best players are some of your hardest workers. Been very blessed in that aspect.
Now, Justin, the $1 million question before I ask it. Did this young man grow up wanting to be a Kentucky boy, a Kentucky football player?
Well, his uncle played at Kentucky, or his uncle played at Notre Dame, and his dad played at Kentucky for 2 years. Randy Driver is his dad, was out of Glasgow, played strong safety, and played there at Kentucky for a couple years, and then went to Kentucky State. And then his uncle, Tony, played at Louisville Male, and then played at Notre Dame, and then got drafted. So he's got some genetics there. His mother is a really good athlete too. Mary Roller is her name, and she's a cop here in town, Danville PD, and very supportive and push him. And I said, have all the attention that they have, it's a hats off to them. They're not, a lot of times you got these big time prospects that parents are, we need to get him the ball. He needs to do this. He needs to do this. So they're not helicopter parents. They are letting us coach them. They, we get on them. It is a production world, and we coach them hard and love them hard. But they allow us to coach him, and that's who he is.
Did you just say helicopter parents?
Yeah.
Okay, help me.
You've had the helicopter parents that are always around, wanting to watch every practice, wanting to do this and just make sure it's all about their kid. And, that's stuff that, when I talk to a lot of other coaches around, some of them will talk about that. Now, well, we don't have that here. That's not a problem here. Our culture is this and what we deal with, and we're very blessed with that.
I've never heard that expression. How long has that expression been? Am I behind the times?
You may be behind the times a little bit in some of that.
Okay. That's incredible. I love it. And it makes a lot of sense. When you said that, I'm going, did I really hear that? Talk about that. Alan Feldhaus is a friend, and he's one of the great high school coaches in America, not just here in the state of Kentucky. And he told me the year I did some play-by-play after I retired from TV, just in conversations, he said before the season, he has a meeting. It's a lot easier to do a meeting with parents of a basketball team than a football team.
Mm-hmm.
And I say, hey, look, you want to call me up and ask how your son is doing, or if you have a question about school, this, and that, I'm open door anytime. You want to complain about playing time or talking about playing time? We're not having a discussion. Now, he's been there a long time, and he's unbelievably respected, and I respected him even more just being around him. And so he basically told me, he said, I don't have that problem because I'm not going to allow to have that problem. I fear for some of the coaches, you get it, but because I hate to tell you this, Justin, but you're a veteran. Besides winning all the state championships, you get it. but I fear seriously for some of the young coaches who get bowled over by parents and stuff like that. So I'm assuming that you do something to set this up. Say, look, we'll love your kids. We're going to work your kids hard like crazy, but we ain't going to put up with you all telling me how to run my program. Do you do something like that? Did you talk to parents, or they know since you're so successful that they ain't going to mess with you?
Yeah, we'll have we have a meeting, and I'll give Coach Smith, Chuck Smith, who started this, and really got this place rolling with some help from some people, and that when I took over, I'm a junkie now. I love looking at all that different stuff of just team and culture and anything you can do. And we have a parent meeting. We've all had this parent meeting. I've got a folder on my computer that's got all my parent meeting stuff, and I print it out and I put it on we update a PowerPoint every year, and that's what I go over, this PowerPoint, and I read it, and it talks about how we're going to deal with problems, how we're going to deal with this, what we're going to talk about this about, and kind of set the tone for we're not going to have those problems, just like Coach Feldhaus talked about. We're not going to have those problems, and that this is our culture of what we deal with and how we can be successful. I will meet and I will do this with whatever, but we're not talking about playing time. We're not talking about another kid, because that's sometimes I'll talk about you and your kid in a meeting, but we're not going to talk about any other kid in the meeting with you unless their parents are there, and we're not going to get into that. So that kind of cuts that off right at the head where it doesn't become a problem.
That's really smart. I love it. In the early 80s, and I got to know some guys who were coaching, and they would, a couple of them got out of the business. Said, parents are driving me crazy. And I get that. You get that a million times better than me. But I've talked, as you know, a lot of coaches through the years, and you have to establish it early on. If not, there are some parents that'll just run you over. Most parents are great, but it only takes a few bad ones to make a horrendous situation, right?
It does, and I say this, and I've became a different. I think when you have a kid also, so I've got kids playing and what teams are. I've got two daughters and they play volleyball and they play this, and I've kind of been humbled a little bit with that. Of my oldest daughter, I'll never forget, and what it means to be on a team, and I tell this story every year. Team sports are special and what it just brings to it, of being a part of something. But we got in the car and I had said something about, I don't know. I said, well, this one didn't play very good. This one didn't do this. And my oldest daughter, JC, she said, hey, Dad, don't be talking about my teammates. And I wasn't saying anything bad. It was just like, well, we didn't play very good. This is the reason we didn't win. She said, don't be talking about my teammates. We're going to be good. We're fine. And I was like, it hit me. I was like, that's right. You're exactly right, honey. This is where it is. But a lot of times in coaching and in football, the parents want the 10 best kids and their kid to play. In basketball, they want the 4 best kids and their kid to play because they still want to win. They want to do that, but they want to make sure their kid's playing. But we're very blessed here at Boyle County, and I have been in all the places I've been. I've never had any problems with having to deal with that. I think you set the tone for that, and it is, sometimes you set that culture and it'll go, but all it takes is one bad one to run it.
Your daughter is very wise. You and your wife did a good job raising her that she had the guts to say, "Hey, Dad," and on top of it, she was right.
Oh yeah. It was a really eye opening. I think there's nothing better than being a dad and being that. And I'm very blessed with 3. JC, she's 14. I've got Jenna is 12, and then I've got a little boy, J. Cole, who's 8. And they all play sports. They all play everything. But it's really made me have a better understanding as a coach when you have kids and they're playing sports. And I only help them when they ask me to help them. I'm not that person of, hey, we've got to do this. And if they ask me to help them, I'm going to go help them. But I'm not making them do anything because you got to play for the love of the game. And when they ask advice, I give it to them. But I let them be coached. I'm not constantly, I don't say anything to the coach. I'm there as a support and go. So it's been fun for me, and it's really helped me. It's really opened my eyes.
And I bet the other coaches appreciate the fact because you probably could push your weight around. You win 5. I'm being serious now. You win 5 state championships in 6 years. You got some juice. I bet they really appreciate the fact that you're just showing up to support your daughter and the team.
Yeah, I hope so. That's a big thing. It's what we try to do. I have to say, I'm very blessed with family and parents and my wife. We enjoy. We support each other. We support all the sports, and our kids know there's not a game that somebody's not there, and usually more than one, about being able to do that. And I think that's so important for kids these days to have that.
Last one about your young Studley tight end, Seneca Driver. Do you have? I know you're not. If you know, I know you're not going to tell me where it's going. But is he going to make a decision, or is this going to take give people a taste?
Yeah, he is. Right now, he's wanting to commit before the season starts, so he'd like to commit before August, and he's scheduling some official visits. We were actually, I will say this, we were talking about where we were going to visit, and we listed some schools, and I said, hey, these, the ones that's shown the most attention and kind of going up, and he did bring up, the one he said was Kentucky, and I think their staff, the new staff, has done a great job of recruiting him. Louisville, obviously, Coach Morrow has done a great job recruiting him, and then Oklahoma, when Jason Witten is you're the first person that he goes and sees as soon as he's officially hired and makes the first call to him. I think that was important. But we've been, they had Notre Dame's come down. He's been to Notre Dame. He's been to Texas A&M on a visit. Watched a game there. He's been to Penn State. He's been there. He's been to Oklahoma twice. I'm trying to think where he's been to Kentucky, been to Louisville. We went Tennessee. Tennessee was where that was the first offer. Cause I knew obviously when you see a kid that can run and jump and do all the things that he has, I said, well, Seneca, where would you like to get an offer from? And the first one he said was Tennessee. Cause he got an offer first from Walt Wells and EKU as an 8th grader. I posted a video on Twitter. He's playing defensive end, and they tried to throw a screen pass, and he rushed up the field and picked it off one-handed and run it back for about 40 yards. So he got an offer as an 8th grader from Walt Wells and EKU. So he's had the attention for a while, but he's got a lot of great options, and I'm gonna be a fan. And like I told him, obviously if he was closer, it'd be great to watch. But I don't care where he goes. I'm gonna be a Seneca Driver fan, and wherever he is, I'm gonna support him.
That's great, Coach. I'm going to guess that's your only player in your career who had a scholarship offer in 8th grade.
Yeah, that was pretty unique. Now we've had a couple right now. I've got a couple 8th graders that got some offers also. So it's the recruiting thing has really changed. Yes, yeah. We got Drayton Littlejohn as an 8th grader, and then Gus Singleton. They're current 8th graders right now with Gus Singleton. His dad coaches with me. He's 6'4", 30 pounds. Lineman. His mother is a swim coach at Center College. He was an athlete, was a diver swimmer. The dad played at Cumberland and that, so he's got some genetics there with him and some height. And then Drayton Littlejohn's a really elite sprinter as an 8th grader, and he's got an offer too. So those we're very blessed. There's something in the water over here that we've got some really good players, and those things happen.
Yeah, wow. You beat me to it. I was going to say, yeah, what's in your water? And I want a gallon of it every single day.
And we're blessed. I mean, we've got some other kids. Maddox Hager is a kid that's a tight end that he's got about 15 offers, and he tore his ACL in June in basketball last June, so he missed all year last year. But he's someone that he's 6'6", 250 pounds, and he is a really one of the top. If you didn't have Seneca there, everybody'd be talking about him as far as being one of the top tight ends in the country, and he is. I think Seneca's number one, and I would think Maddox is the top 25 in the country. And he's had people over here with him, and really, I can't wait to see. He's getting back. Hopefully, we'll get him back at the end of April. I think he was just about 6 months, about a couple of weeks ago. So that's about a 9-month deal now. So we're getting him back. He's working hard in the weight room with what he can do, but he's 6'6", 250, and got an 80-inch wingspan, 11-inch hands. I never had any tight ends, and all of a sudden I get 2 in the same class. So we're good with. We'll be in a lot of 12 personnel and play 2 tight ends a lot this year.
I bet. It's a little smash mouth football. Hey, Justin, it's really nice catching up. Congratulations on winning the state championship again. 5 out of 6 years. We appreciate the information on Seneca, and maybe down the road, if you can update us, that would be great. If not, have a great off season. Yeah. Respect what the heck you do, and you're obviously one of the all-time greats in the state.
Well, I appreciate you having me on anytime. Love catching up.
Thanks.
Go Rebels.
Okay, thanks. Timmy, who started that? Oh, we talked about this the other day. Wilson in Seattle. Yeah. You got to go Rebels.
I was watching Seneca's highlights just from his sophomore year. Unbelievable. I mean, blown away.
8th grade, picks off a pass and runs it back a long way, but not for a touchdown. He ran back 2 interceptions as a linebacker last year. He plays both ways and is considered the number 1 tight end in the country. His dad played for a couple years matter of fact, I didn't realize who his dad was until he said, and I went, oh yeah, he was a DB. And then when he said safety, whatever. So, and then when he ran down the whole family, oh my gosh, on all the athletes in his family, that's going to be exciting. It's going to become a really heated thing. Nick Rouse, thank you so much. Christian Alt, thank you so much. Justin Haddix, thank you so much. I hope you enjoyed the press conference with Mark Pope. The podcast will be up in a half hour anywhere you get your podcast. So check that out. Have a fun show lined up tomorrow. As Jimmy, as always, thank you very much. Brad Taylor coming up next. Matthew and Jimmy at 10. I'll be back at noon. Have yourself